Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to this second in this series of webinars. My name is Peter Halloway and I'm a Regional Sales Manager from Chauvin-Arnoux, and I'm joined today by James Pinkstone, who is a Sales Advisor from Alpha Electronics. So just to give you a little bit of background, myself and others used to go around the country and perform this pre-COVID times as a seminar, and it would possibly take an hour and a half, perhaps a bit longer, where we'd go through the same material. So now what we've done is we've had all of that condensed into a professional video with an overlay by Dave Austin, who's fairly well renowned in industry, and that's a 22-minute video. So the running order today after this short introduction will be, we'll put the video on and you'll hopefully agree by the end of the video. So there's some really good, compelling stuff within that video, which will hopefully get us some good questions and answers, which we will have towards the end. So there'll be plenty of opportunity, and of course if anyone wants to do any one-to-ones to talk about any of today's topic or indeed products, then that's absolutely fine, no problem at all. This is an educational webinar. The amount of sales in it is minuscule. There'll just be one slide, probably maybe two slides at the end, but there you go. So James is just going to explain the Q&A side of things while I line up the video.
Cheers, Pete. My name's James from Alpha Electronics, based in the Southern office. Now, if you notice on your Zoom call, you have to chat in the Q&A. If you can keep your questions in the Q&A, so we can go through those at the end of the presentation, as it'd be difficult to answer questions as we're going along. So we have plenty of time afterwards for our questions to be answered. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks there, James. Okay, so we will now look at the video. So like I say, this is 22 minutes, well worth watching, and we'll be back soon.
If you are a business owner or facility manager and you want to save money, then this is for you. If you're an electrical contractor and want to learn about a lucrative new service, it's for you too. We're going to show you where you're likely to be wasting energy and how much. And we'll show you how to identify, locate and resolve the various issues and make big savings. Now, if saving money or earning more cash with a bit of Planet Rescue thrown in is of no interest to you, then you may as well move on. You won't enjoy this. Electricity consumption in the UK rose from 192 terawatt hours in 1970 to 301 terawatt hours in 2017, and that's a lot. Our future energy needs are open for debate, but all four scenarios currently being considered by National Grid will require us to create more generating capacity and, as importantly, use less electricity. But to put the numbers into perspective, the predicted additional capacity requirement just for electric cars by the year 2030 is between 3.5 and 8 gigawatts. And that's on top of the existing peak demand of 60 gigawatts. Now, by comparison, Hinkley Point C, the nuclear plant in Somerset, will add just 3.2 gigawatts of capacity to the system. So adding more is a big problem. It's clear the wiser way to go is reducing our electrical consumption. And the only way to do that is to improve our energy efficiency. Now, it is perhaps not surprising that nearly half the UK's electrical energy is used by industrial and commercial consumers. This amounted to 166 terawatt hours in 2017. It stands to reason, therefore, that any improvements in their efficiency could dramatically reduce our required generation. A saving of just 10% would amount to 16.6 terawatt hours, which is roughly equal to all of the energy generated by the UK's 5 remaining coal-fired power stations in 2018. From another angle, it equals nearly a third of the UK's entire wind farm generation output of 2018. To push businesses to become more efficient and to help us to meet our future energy needs, the UK has 2 items of legislation. ESOS is a mandatory energy assessment scheme for organisations in the UK that meet the qualification criteria. And SECR, the UK government's streamlined energy and carbon reporting policy was implemented on the 1st of April 2019. These regulations require an estimated 12,000 companies incorporated in the UK to disclose their energy and carbon emissions. Now, apart from legislation, there are also moral advantages to reducing emissions, which of course also reduces a business's carbon footprint. But while it's good to improve your green credentials and shout about it, for many the biggest motivator will be the financial savings they can make. Energy is getting more expensive. Renewables are not cheap, and we're all paying for it with every unit of electricity we consume. The UK's wholesale electricity price rose from £19 per megawatt hour in 2003 to £46 per megawatt hour in 2017. So a 10 or 20% reduction in electricity consumption could save some businesses thousands of pounds per month. Reducing electrical energy consumption by 20% or more is easier than you might think. In researching the opportunities available to businesses to reduce their electrical energy consumption, some startling discoveries were made. According to the Carbon Trust, on average, 20% of the electricity consumed in businesses is wasted due to inefficient equipment. A British gas survey of electricity smart meters in 6,000 SMEs showed as much as 46% of electrical energy being consumed out of hours. Research shows, on average, businesses can reduce their electricity consumption by 12% by turning off office equipment at the end of the day. And office equipment left on standby during bank holidays and weekends costs the average SME £6,000 per year. On average, 25% of an organisation's electricity costs come from lighting. Occupancy sensors can reduce this by nearly a third, with daylight sensors offering even greater savings. And LED lighting consumes 80% less power than incandescent lamps for the same light output. Amazingly, studies have shown that 50% of businesses have poor power factor, consuming an additional 30% in unnecessary reactive power due to power factor levels of 0.7 and lower. And that's not to mention the effects of phase imbalance or high harmonic currents. These statistics come from the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, the Carbon Trust, British Gas and National Grid, and are backed up by genuine research. Now, based on these, it's easy to see how reductions and therefore savings of 20% or more could be achieved. It's worth mentioning at this point that it is possible to reduce electrical energy costs by using one of the many price comparison businesses that are out there. Now, many organisations do this as the savings are easy to see and achieve. But in reality, they may generally only add up to a few percent, and it does nothing to reduce a business's actual electrical consumption or carbon emissions. Consider if your car was only doing 10 miles to the gallon, and you noticed it was leaking fuel on the road. Would you fix the problem or ignore it and look for cheaper fuel? Oh, sure, everyone wants to buy their fuel from the cheapest place, but it would make sense to fix the car first. And it's the same with the electricity a business uses. By all means, shop around for the best price. But in light of the previous statistics, far greater savings are to be made by fixing the problems. Let's look in more detail at some of those statistics and the more common electrical inefficiency issues. Motors consume around 40% of all electricity used worldwide and account for more than 2/3 of the electricity consumed by industry. Now, their performance degrades over time, and combined with advances in technology over the past few decades, replacing old motors can easily improve efficiency by 20 to 30%. The cost of running a motor for a year can be 10 times what it costs to buy it in the first place. And most replacement programs will have a payback time of 1 to 3 years. The efficiency of your motor operation is therefore critically important if you're aiming to lower your carbon footprint and reduce your energy bills. And for businesses that think they don't have any motors, what about the heating, ventilation and air conditioning? HVAC can use a huge amount of energy, enough to double a building's energy consumption and associated carbon emissions. How old are the motors pumping the water and blowing the air around your installation? It's also the case that older HVAC systems often operate motors at full speed, using baffles to restrict airflow as required. More modern systems, with motors controlled by variable speed drives or VSDs, will reduce motor speed instead. And on the basis that a motor running at 80% consumes 50% less electricity than at full speed, this can be another area where large savings are possible. Old IT equipment is another common inefficiency issue in offices, including photocopiers and printers. And there are still a large number of old PCs out there with old cathode ray or CRT displays that have been controlling industrial equipment for decades and still are. But at what cost? An LED monitor can consume 4 times less energy than its CRT equivalent, and often even 25% less than fairly modern LCD displays. With lighting contributing to 25% of the average industrial facility electricity bill, and with office buildings and call centres using even more, the efficiency of lighting equipment and its use is vital. Obvious changes are to move from incandescent lamps to LED, with savings of up to 80%. Less obvious are the effective use of occupancy sensors and daylight saving devices. Occupancy sensors in occasional rooms like meeting rooms, corridors and bathrooms can cut lighting costs by 30% by ensuring areas are only lit when they're in use. And with daylight sensors adjusting artificial light levels as the sun comes up and goes down during the working day, a business can save a further 40%. Shockingly, 46% of the electrical energy used by UK SMEs is consumed out of hours, according to a survey of 6,000 smart meters. That's nearly half the electricity used by a business. One of the most common causes is office lighting left on at night and weekends, something you can often see for yourself as you travel around at night. Similarly, car park lighting. Being outside, it's often overlooked. Car park and other external floodlighting can sometimes offer the greatest cost-saving opportunities. Halogen floodlights can be replaced by LED equivalents, and the use of occupancy and daylight sensors will ensure that no energy is being consumed unnecessarily. Another culprit for out-of-hours electricity use in offices, call centres and classrooms is that of equipment being left on all night and the weekend. This ranges from the obvious PCs, monitors, photocopiers and printers to hot water and other vending machines. Disappointingly, 50% of businesses have poor power factor, many as low as 0.7, consuming an additional 30% in unnecessary reactive power. Now, if you don't already know, some electrical equipment requires an amount of reactive power in addition to active power in order to work effectively. These tend to be items with copper windings in them, especially transformers, motors, induction heaters, arc welders, compressors and the like, even fluorescent lighting. Now, it gets a little complicated. Stay with me, we may need beer. Real power, known as active power, performs the real work in a piece of equipment. Reactive power does not perform any useful real work, but is necessary for inductive loads to work. It also takes power away, making it harder for the real power to supply the load. Apparent power is the vector sum of real power and reactive power. Let's attempt an explanation with the help of a pint of beer. If the explanation doesn't work, at least we can drink the beer. When you order a pint of beer, you pay for the entire contents of the glass, the apparent power. What you want is mostly beer, real power, with a little froth on the top, reactive power. If the froth is too big, as with this pint, then there's less beer in the glass, but you're still paying the same price. A little froth is of course fine. In fact, it's necessary. Now, it's similar with reactive power. While it's okay for a little to be there, if there's too much, then the consumer will be paying for it in reactive power charges or penalties. Power factor is the ratio of the active power to apparent power, and is used as an indication of how efficiently power is being delivered to the loads in an industrial or commercial site. A power factor of 1 is ideal, but almost impossible. It's like a beer with no froth. A power factor of 0.95 is generally accepted as being as good as you can get, and something to aim for. And this would be a beer with a perfect amount of froth on it. Now, to achieve this, power factor correction or PFC units are connected to the installation. In its simplest form, this consists of a selection of capacitors of calculated values that automatically switch in and out as changes in the operating load require. The capacitance basically counteracts the effects of the inductance in the load. With modern equipment, it's not quite as simple as that, due to the need to consider harmonics and other power quality issues caused by non-linear loads, and we'll touch on these later. Either way, there are two common issues that result in 50% of UK industries having inadequate power factor correction today. Firstly, PFC equipment calculated to suit the loads in a business at a point in time may no longer be appropriate as time passes. This is mostly due to new equipment being added and old equipment being decommissioned. And secondly, and perhaps more significantly, the capacitors in power factor correction equipment wear out over time. Since PFC units generally sit out of sight and out of mind, and with much electrical work nowadays being subbed out to contractors, there appears to be an increasing loss of ownership and knowledge of the complete electrical installation by any one person, including power factor levels. Phased imbalance occurs when single-phase loads are unevenly balanced across the three phases of an installation. Often, like power factor correction, the phase loadings would have been balanced and checked when a facility was first designed, or when the initial installation was performed. But as time passes, it's common for the original loads to be moved or decommissioned, and new single-phase loads introduced. Now, if this is done without consideration or knowledge of the load spread across the three phases, then over time, significant imbalance will occur. Heat losses in cables and equipment are proportional to the square of the current, using the formula I squared R. Imbalanced phases mean high currents on phases that should be shared better across the others. Phase imbalance also has serious implications for any three-phase motors in an installation. It can cause phase current up to 10 times the percentage voltage imbalance for a fully loaded motor. So a 1% increase in voltage on one phase will potentially cause a corresponding 10% increase in current drawn on that phase by all of the three-phase motors connected to the same installation. Now, this not only equates to a 10% increase in energy consumption, but could lead to overheating of the motor windings and shaft vibration, both of which will shorten a motor's life. Harmonics and other power quality issues are the subject of another one of our presentations. So here we'll just consider their effects on the electrical efficiency of an installation. Harmonic currents are generated by non-linear loads like variable speed motor drives, LED lighting, IT equipment, UPS systems, and solar PV inverters, to name just a few. Harmonics create all sorts of problems in an installation, but with regards to energy efficiency will, at the least, create increased internal energy losses in connected equipment. Resistive heating is proportional to the square of the harmonic order, so it also follows that the greater the number of higher order harmonics that exist, the greater the heating effect. And this transposes into increased energy consumption and reduced equipment life. Now, as with all the energy efficiency issues discussed so far, the effects of harmonics can be mitigated in various ways, but you need to measure them first. So, having highlighted a variety of potential energy efficiency issues, the next step is to see what's actually happening in your installation. Or if you're a contractor offering energy logging and efficiency improvements as a service, what's happening in your client's installation. And the best way to know that information is with a power and energy logger. This will allow measurement and, more importantly, logging over time of three-phase currents and voltages with automatic calculation of power factor and measurement of harmonics up to the 50th order. Simply connect it to different pieces of equipment or machinery or even whole circuits and leave it logging for a while. The electrical consumption of equipment and machines can be compared against rating plates to look for degradation over time and against the specifications of new replacement items for increased savings. Measurement over days or even weeks of individual circuits will identify the costs of out-of-hours electricity use and enable savings calculations to be made. These can then be used for the justification of equipment upgrades, like moving to LED lighting, for example. A good way to start the journey to improved energy efficiency would be to log the usage of the site as a whole over, say, a week, and then home in on problem areas by subsequently logging individual circuits. Connection is non-intrusive, and assuming the operator is qualified for live working, there is probably no need to turn the power off at any stage. Current measurement coils simply loop around cables. Voltage leads can be clipped onto conductors, or magnetic probes used for easy connection to MCB screw heads. It's easy to set up and monitor results using the free app. And logged measurement data can be downloaded via USB cable or directly from the SD card for analysis on a PC using the included reporting software. If it's your business, when you're finished analysing the installation and its contents, you can semi-permanently connect the PEL up at the incomer and plug it into the IT network. And from that point on, live data will be continuously monitored. This will immediately highlight any new issues with power factor, phase balance, harmonics, and ongoing electrical consumption in and out of hours. Now, if further investigation of any item is required in the future, the PEL can be disconnected from the incoming supply, used to temporarily monitor the item or circuit, and then reconnected at the origin afterwards. This is arguably a better solution than fixed monitoring equipment, as there's no holes to cut or any need to turn the power off for installation, and the PEL can be moved around as required. If you're an electrical contractor, there is a great opportunity to offer services to business owners who want the green credentials and to save money based around efficiency measurement, but don't know what to do. You can offer the lot: energy logging over time, power factor measurement, phase balance measurement, harmonic analysis, or a complete energy efficiency logging service. Chauvin New UK are here to help. We've created a media channel at CA UK TV. There you'll find a series of how-to videos that show you how to set up the PEL, how to connect it to an installation or piece of equipment, how to start a logging session, how to download results from the PEL, and how to use the app. There are also more than 20 technical articles and a white paper detailing various aspects of energy efficiency and power quality. And if you need more help, our staff and business partners are always there to provide personal support. So if you're a business owner or the manager of a facility or campus and ready to reduce your electrical consumption and carbon emissions while making significant financial savings, or if you're an electrical contractor and ready to add a lucrative new service helping businesses reduce electrical consumption and carbon emissions, take the first step now by visiting CA UK TV. Alternatively, contact us directly on info@cauk.tv or call us on 01924 460 494. See you soon.
Okay, so hopefully you'll agree there's some really compelling reasons and arguments why you'd want to go out and have a look at your energy and see where you can save money, or if you are indeed a contractor, then this is quite an easy bolt-on service. And I can concur that absolutely wherever I've been and had the privilege to go and connect up a PAL 103 on an installation, then we will always find issues. Some of those power factor stats there were, I think Dave was saying 0.7. I've seen much lower than that. I've seen some horrific harmonics and harmonics going down the neutral and things like this. So don't take my word for it. If you want, I'll come out and by all means, in conjunction with you or your electrician, I can certainly hook up a PAL 103 and we'll look together. So that's on offer. Anyway, enough of that. I did say this is all about being educational, and please, by all means, contact me. I will be sending out an email afterwards. But just before the Q&A, I just want to hand it over to James. And James is just going to go through the PAL 103 kit. I just need to share that with you. And he's going to let you know what their offer on that kit is also. So over to you, James. I'll just get that screen up for you while you're talking.
Cheers, Pete. Yeah, what we're doing is we're offering a sort of a better price than we normally would on this complete PAL kit. As you can see there, it's normally done about 2,040. We'll be doing it for about 1,620, I believe, plus the VAT. Only for UK mainland, unfortunately, due to carriage costs, etc. What you get with the PAL kit is you get the PAL 103 logger, you get your 3 flexes, you get voltage leads and clips, and you get data view software for report generating, and the Android tablet is a godsend for setting up and viewing your logger live or from a different room if need be. So that's the basic kit you got. There's a couple of magnetic probes in there as well, and some reels just to keep things tidy. So if you're interested in ordering one of those from us, you can call us on 01622 690 187, or you can drop us an email at sales@alpha-electronics.com, and we'll forward your inquiry, your interest onto the relevant office, whether that be our Northern office up in Atherton or our Wales and West office down in Newport. So, and obviously, if you have any other questions relating to these products or other 790 products, please feel free to give us a call or drop us an email. We're all here to help as much as we can. Okay.
Okay, thanks, James. I'll just take that off. We have had a couple of questions in. So if I cover this first one. So if we are billed kilowatt hours, will we get any electrical saving by increasing or improving our power factor? A couple of things to say there, really. I would say if you're only billed, and you definitely know you're only billed for your real power, then no, you're perhaps not going to have reactive energy charges, but you still need to take perhaps control of that, because if you've certainly if you've got a large installation and you're looking to expand, then all of that reactive power and poor power factor, etc., all related, of course, is going to be taking up headroom on your supply transformer. So you might be really up towards the top, it's buzzing away, and you haven't got any headroom to put that new production line you want to put in. So I think it's all related. So you may not necessarily be billed for it, although if you are in industry, I'd be surprised if you weren't billed for either poor power factor or reactive charges, but it does vary depending on your DNO. So hopefully that's answered that question. Also another question here, can the PAL test single phase circuits? Well, that's a good point. You were seeing it as a 3-phase energy logger. And you can actually set it up for single phase, but of course you could also set it up for 3-phase and connect those individual single phase circuits. So you might have one on power, one on lights, one on something else. So that's a good way of monitoring all at the same time. So the answer is yes, you can. Any more questions? Nothing coming at the moment. So what I would say is I'm going to send this video out to you. I'll send a link to it when we've prepared it. We'll send you a link to the video so you can watch this over and over again. And you'll have my contact details at that point. So please, if you've got any questions, even if you bought a PAL, if you want me to, I can connect one-to-one and help you. If you're not getting the best out of your PAL or not used it for some time, want a little bit of help, then that's what we're there for. We'll help you. We want you to get the best out of our instruments. Or if you're looking to buy one, of course, then yeah, by all means, we could do exactly the same. So that'd be good. Right. I don't believe there's anything else. Oh no, we've got another one. Okay, so hi, what harmonic order can the PAL 103 measure? So we go up to the 50th. Talk a little bit about harmonics. As we're talking about harmonics, it's probably worth covering a little bit. We're seeing more and more harmonic issues. I mean, all the non-linear loads out in industry now, there are so many harmonic issues. So really worth taking note of. And although it's a power energy logger, yes, you can log harmonics up to the 50th as well. So yeah, okay, that's answered your question. That's good. On harmonics, actually, Dave Austin mentioned our CA UK. So Gillian Grant, the UK General Manager, is prolific in writing technical articles. There's a lot of very, very good, valuable information. Please go and have a look. The latest article is all about if you are conforming to the wiring regulations, because most clamp meters, for instance, won't measure those harmonic currents. They typically measure up to around about 400, sometimes 500 hertz. So the 8th harmonic. So any harmonic current above that is going to be disregarded, and it'll be under reading basically. So so if you're looking at an installation, talking about sizing of conductors, etc., then your clamp meter might not be giving you the relevant information. So there's a word of warning there. But as I say, that article's on cauk.tv, so go and have a good read and have a look. And if you want to talk to me about that or anything else you find on there, I'll be more than happy to. Oh, hang on, people are using the chat. I didn't realize. I say, what is the difference between a PAL 102 and a 103? So the 102 is identical, apart from it does not have a screen. So you can see behind me a PAL 103 on the graphic. So exactly the same without that LCD screen. We don't typically sell 102s. I think people like to see a little bit of information on the screen, especially when they set it up. It's a bit of peace of mind, I guess, isn't it? You can, one thing you can do, and you can certainly connect to a PAL 102 in France, because we've got one there in one of our factories. So I think Dave might have mentioned it. At the bottom here is an Ethernet port. So you can remotely log into these and remotely monitor. So that's a really, really useful and powerful feature to have. And if anyone's interested in that, by all means, give me a shout and we'll go through that. Okay, I'll just check. Don't believe we've got anything else in either the Q&A or the chat. So as I say, if you either don't want to ask anything or think of something as soon as we finish, then you will have my contact details. So we will be in communication with you. We'll send you that link out. So if you do think of anything, then please come back to me. Just to let you know then, this one is CPT accredited as well. So I will be sending off all the the people that have attended, I'll be sending your details off to the CPD service, and it's taken a little bit longer for obvious reasons, but certainly within a month I'd expect you will get a CPD certificate via email. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for Alpha Electronics for advertising this in conjunction with us, and I hope you've all found it very useful, and we look forward to doing more of this type of thing and helping you in the future. So on that note, as there's nothing else coming, I'll end the meeting there. Thanks all.
Sorry, there is one more.
One more? Okay, James.
Duration on the PEL 103.
What's that, sorry? Oh, yeah.
On the PEL 103.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we're talking, yeah, 1-2 weeks. Absolutely no problem at all. You can't record on a loop, but there's no problem well, you can go months, to be honest. So, and it depends on your aggregation period. So how often you go out and grab the data. If you look at EN 50160, then it's going to recommend every 10 minutes, and that's what we tend to recommend as well. If you're doing an energy survey, you don't really need less than every 10 minutes. So hopefully that's answered your question. Okay. Typically we sample over a 2-week period. Yes. So and that's not a bad period. I mean, what we always say is a minimum of 1 week would be typical, but speak to your customer because they may have shift patterns or something that's on a 2 or 3 week cycle. So they might want you to log over 3 weeks. Happy to, if anyone wants to see the PAL 103 in action, I'm very happy to connect one-to-one or a number of people within the same company, whatever, and show you how to connect it, show you how easy it is. That's not an issue at all. So just contact me and we'll be glad to do that for you. Okay, well, thank you very, very much for all your time, and there is nothing else coming. So I'll end it there. Thanks, guys.
Lovely. Thank you, Pete.
Cheers, Pete.